Okay, so today we are going to start trigonometry, and the first thing we're going to look at, or we look at mainly, is trigonometric ratios. So the ratios can be, you can either say ratios or you can say fractions or rules. It all means the same thing. So if they say, tell us what the trig ratio is, they just merely mean, it's another way of saying the rule. So what we're going to look at, these ones that we're going to use can only be used in a right angle triangle. So you can only use these in a right angle triangle. So you need to be aware of that. So how do we generally know it's a right angle triangle? Yeah, good. So we know this indicates it's a right angle triangle. Excellent. So the first thing we need to do is probably learn how to label this triangle. So we've already done this a little bit because we did some of it with our Pythagoras. Now, who can tell me what was the side that's opposite the right angle? Who? Good. It was called the hypotenuse. So I'm just going to give it a H, but yep, you're right, it's the hypotenuse. Okay, the other two sides we label according to which angle they're giving me. So because I've got this angle up here, okay, the side that is, say, next to it, like that, another word for next to is adjacent. So we can label that one adjacent. So A stands for adjacent. Okay, and then if you've got the angle and also we have the other side, and we generally say this other side is opposite the angle they're talking about. So we call it O for opposite. Okay, so we've labelled up that triangle. Let's label up the other one. So remember, this side opposite the right angle is called what? Good, hypotenuse. If I went down here, what's this angle? Good, excellent. So that's the A, the adjacent. And then what would this one be? Opposite. With this subject, once you've got them labelled, if you've got them labelled correctly, you pretty much are set. You're not going to go too far wrong. So we've got a couple of rules, and if you remember, we can remember them by this little saying, Sohcahtoa. Okay? So some people, like that Sohcahtoa ad or whatever, but Sohcahtoa. So if you have a look at this, let's have a look at the first one, this here, SOH. What that means is, that tells you this first rule over here. And we can say that sine the angle, sorry, I just didn't put that in there. Sine the angle is equal to, now we're going to say opposite over hypotenuse. Now, can you see down here in Sohcahtoa, O was mentioned first, so it's on the top of the fraction. Can you understand that? Yeah? So really, all you'll need to learn is the word Sohcahtoa, write it on the top of your page, and you've got all the rules. Or these are called rules or ratios, same thing. So if I look down here at cos theta, what will the rule be? Cos theta equals, what do you think it'll be? Excellent. Adjacent over hypotenuse. And the last one, tan theta, opposite over adjacent. So just to, if you're a bit unsure, this little symbol there is actually called theta. The symbol is called theta. And it's just the symbol we use often to indicate an angle. We could use X, we could use any letter, it doesn't matter. Just sometimes, most of the times in maths, they use that. But it doesn't have to be that. So you could say sine X or whatever. So that's our main thing. And this is probably the hardest part, because if you don't pick the right rule, you won't do it correctly. But if you can label your triangle and just pick the right rule, you'll be fine. So let's go have a look at some questions here on the next one. So quite easily, they're just asking us again to label the triangle. So I'll point to a side and you can tell me what is this? What's this side? Good. So just, you don't need to write the word out. Just put a H and a circle around it. Okay? Okay, what about this side over here? No. Yeah, good. This one is opposite. And what would make that makes the other one? Adjacent. Good. All right, over here. Can you see I'm normally always do the hypotenuse first because it's always going to be opposite that one. So there's a hypotenuse. Okay, if I'm over here, what am I? I'm all the way over. I am opposite. Good. And this one, adjacent. Okay, excellent. So for the next example, for the triangle, write the ratio for sine theta, cos theta, and tan theta. Okay, so here's a time where you might go, all right, I'm going to write out Sohcahtoa on my page so I remember. Okay, so let's go label this triangle first. So the H is actually the hypotenuse. That was nice and convenient, wasn't it? What side is this little a? Yeah, adjacent. And what side is the B then? Opposite. All right. So if they ask me to write the ratio or just write the fraction for sine theta, you know from this rule that it's O over H, which equals, now in my diagram, what is O? Oh, it's a B, sorry. Yeah? And what's H? Little h. Yeah? Can you understand? That's all you got to write. So when they ask me for cos theta, the rule for that one is A over H. But in this diagram, what is my A? Is a little a, isn't it? And my thing, so it could be other letters. Those letters just happen to be. Okay, and the last one, tan is O over A. So in the diagram, what is O? It's a B. And what is A? Yeah, A, little a. Excellent. So you're just going to practice that because once we get this, you'll be fine because we just use our calculator and we're so good now at solving and all of that. We're going to be able to get great marks on this test and do well. All right.